Alrighty, Shane, I'm going to walk you through a quick nuke inspection. I made up a nuke for a friend of mine a few weeks ago. A little bit later, I'd actually already split about everything I was going to split out at that point, but he'd realized he had a rougher winter than he thought. He needed some bees, so I'm going to try to help him out. Busted this split out. This hive it's sitting in front of us, how I identify what comes from where. So started as a couple of frames of brood, some pollen, some honey at that time. So we'll see what we got. A little smoke. This box is not in great shape. He's a friend, he lives close by, so he'll actually come out and probably hive them in my yard and go from there. So it is not my intention to let him go with a box that's in such poor condition. All right, smoke them up real good. See what we got. All right. I'm not incredibly pleased with the amount of brood that I'm finding, but there is some brood and there's some young brood, and that's what I'm looking for. A sign of a good laying queen is young brood. And the number of bees, they're not packed out like I wanted to see. So again, this is a later split than I wanted to. Right in here, probably hard for the camera to pick it up. There's some young brood right in there, some 1 to 4 day old stuff. So that tells me, without finding the queen, I don't need to find the queen. I just need to find evidence of the queen. I say that all the time. There's a lot of 1 to 3 day old brood. That tells me I've got a laying queen in this hive. On this side of the frame, see some older calf brood. Right in there, plenty of young brood as well. So, okay, so got some pollen stores they've been bringing in. The numbers aren't that strong, but if I've got a laying queen, I'm headed in the right direction at least. Frame's pretty heavy with honey. All right. All right, so I've got a laying queen. I know that in this hive. So the frame not even gonna pull it out. So, all right, I'm gonna package this back up. It is not ready for him to pick up. That queen needs to lay, build out some more. And probably what I'll do, and I'll let you watch me do this, is give them some more worker and nurse bees. So, be a good addition to this video to let you watch that process. So, I know I've got a good laying queen in here, so now I need to get them some workers. So, how I'm going to do that is by giving them nurse bees on a frame. And here's how I'm going to prep this hive to donate some nurse bees. And some brood that's going to help them along. Now, what I don't want, I know I have a queen in this hive, and I know I have a queen in this hive. So, I don't want to move the same queen to both hives, or both queens to the same hive. That's the one thing I cannot have happen. That will wreck all my plans. So, if I can find the queen, great. But if I can't, then there's another way that we can separate it out. So there's some brood on that frame that I just looked at, but I didn't see a queen. It's just an empty frame. Not going to be a queen there. But they are starting to work on it, which is a good sign. When I split this hive out, here's a frame that's just packed up with brood. See if I can easily spot the queen. And I cannot. Starting to draw a comb out nicely on that frame. It's my first experience using plastic frames this year. I went to buy some frames and they were out of wooden frames. And they also told me the price had went up quite a bit on wooden frames, so the plastic was going to be cheaper. So I'm looking for my queen, but as I preach all the time, you don't have to find the queen. There are other ways to go about it. So I'm actually going to stop this video. You're going to see a split when you watch it because I'm using my phone today, not a camera to be edited on better software. So I'm going to stop the camera. I'll splice these videos together. But when the video picks back up, I'll have all my equipment laid out and I'll walk you through what we're going to do. Okay, Shane, I'm back. Went and grabbed some equipment. So here's what I'm going to do. So I'll recap. I have a nuke that was split a few weeks ago out of this hive. That nuke has made a queen and she is laying to my satisfaction, but there's not a lot of bees. Probably had some drift back to the original hive. Also, there's just not a lot of nurse bees, and the queen is going to cap her laying. She's not going to lay more eggs than the nurse bees can handle. So I need to put some more bees in that hive. Here's how I'm going to put some nurse bees in that hive. And I'm going to give them some brood as well. So I'm going to smoke these bees down really well. I'm going to go with one frame because this hive, I'm not going to pull too many out of this hive. Also, just like the educational purposes of what I'm about to tell you here. Okay, so you're about to watch me waste entirely too much time looking for the queen. I know how to do what I wanted to do without having found her. I was just trying to do it the easy way. It would have been a little simpler had I found her, but ultimately couldn't. So the purpose here is to make sure that I don't bring the queen with me. I want to get all the bees off. I'm just shaking them off to make sure I don't accidentally bring a queen up. Shaking the bees. Get over here, a little better camera angle. Shaking bees. I can see what's on here. And I can tell that I do not have the queen left on this frame. Just some nurse bees. Yep. Okay, I'm confident that I have no queen on this frame. So that frame is going to be designated and go over into this top brood box. Take that top brood box and just want to pack it out with frames. this one and put it back in the bottom. Now I've got these plastic frames I'm using. I'm going to try to keep them consistent with this hive if I can. So I'm going to slide them over. Put one here on the outside. Okay. Using a frame feeder in there, so I'm only going to put 8 in there. Pack this one out with 10. Okay, so check my camera angle, make sure that you can still see what's going on over here. All right, here's what we've got. We have a nuke that needs some help. We have a hive that has a laying queen. This super back here, I have a frame of brood pulled out of this hive, and I know the queen is not on that frame. But it also, there's no worker bees, no nurse bees on that. I'm gonna put a queen excluder up here. I'm actually gonna use 2 because one of them's cracked up pretty bad. I'm just gonna use 1. I'm going to use a piece of cardboard to seal the hole off is what I'm going to do. This nuke box is in bad shape. Probably actually it's in really bad shape. I'm probably going to replace it before I leave the field. Okay, so, got a queen excluder. I'm going to lay this under the hole in the queen excluder. I was going to double up, but that was a bad idea because then my slots wouldn't have lined up. So I'm going to take this second deep that has a frame of brood in it with really no worker bees on it. I'm going to set that on top. I'm going to close this hive back up. And here's what's going to happen. Overnight, nurse bees are going to rise up into this second deep. And they're going to tend to the brood that I pulled up. That one frame of brood that I pulled up, nurse bees are going to come up. A significant number of nurse bees are going to come up because that frame is pretty heavy with brood. Remember, I know the queen's not up there. I know she's down here because I emptied this frame off. That's how I know that. So put a queen excluder so she can't come up and start laying. So now I know my queen's in there. So I'll come out probably tomorrow and I will pull this frame of bees out of here with all the nurse bees that they've collected, and I will put them over here into the nuke. So while I've got the camera going, I'm going to go ahead and get some better equipment for the nuke. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and rebuild that nuke while I'm at it here. Just going to put it in better equipment. I'm going to put it back exactly like it was. So the bees don't really know the difference. They're going to have a better box to come back to, but they're not really going to know it. And I'm really hoping to help some beginners with this channel. And one of the things I think is important to note is that you don't have to find the queen. And in a lot of the groups I'm in, I see a lot of posts, and people are really worried about finding the queen when finding the queen is not always that important. Finding evidence of a good, healthy, laying queen is. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going ahead, and this frame's virtually empty. Really didn't have much going on it. So I'm shaking the bees off and getting them back in the hive, or in the nuke box. So, because remember, I've got a frame that I'm going to have to put in there tomorrow that should be packed up with bees. There's still some bees in the nuke box. I'm going to shake them over in there. The trash came out of the bottom. Not ideal, but they will clean that up. Put this right back where I got it. A little more level though than how I found it. A little better shape. Okay, so that box is back in the same spot, so the field force, what little that left that nuke, will know exactly where to come back to. So I've got a nuke that needs help. I have a queen trapped inside this original hive. She cannot come up because of the queen excluder. And I have one frame of brood that overnight or over the next 36 hours or so, nurse bees are going to gravitate up and then they're going to tend to that frame of brood. Weather's good. It's early summer here in Kentucky. I'm not worried about freeze or anything like that. If this were early spring, I probably wouldn't leave that single frame up there by itself, but no weather concerns. Peek in, probably already got bees gravitating up, and I do have several bees already gravitating up to it. So got a handful of bees that will go into that nuke box, and then I'll give them another week or so to hatch out and set my friend up with some fresh bees. So thank you for watching. I hope this helps.